So you're traveling, you're backpacking, you're embarking on an adventure, and you have no idea what to pack, right? This was me at the beginning of the year. Since then, I've done a backpacking trip for almost 3 months in South America, and now I'm currently backpacking around Ireland for 3 more months. So I have learned what things I need and what I don't. I'm a very materialistic person. I love the comforts of home, but it's just not realistic when you have a backpack and that's it. You can't have every comfort. So I've picked some things that I think are very helpful and they solve a few problems, one of which being the TSA liquid requirements. I have a very in depth skincare routine and that takes up all my liquid. So everything else that would normally be liquid, things like shampoo and conditioner, sunscreen, whatever, I don't want to bring liquids, so I have to find other versions. So yeah, let's get right into it. In no particular order, I'm going to show you some of the things that I think are very, very helpful when traveling light, especially when backpacking and when you're not checking a bag. So first is this. It's a compressible travel mug. So it comes into pieces. You pop it out. You have the little handly thingy. Then you have the top that screws on. I just think it's important because I'm addicted to caffeine. If you don't have that problem, you may not need it. Related to that though, if you do want to consistently have your caffeine, I have brought these like little single serve packets of instant coffee, and believe me, I know. I thought instant coffee was horrible. I still kind of do, but when it's that or nothing, I start to love it. Especially if you're on a budget and you don't want to spend $3 to $5 a day just to buy coffee, this is good. I also have this, which is very similar to the travel mug. It's a cup bowl thing. It's microwave safe. Um, but yeah, if the only thing I have access to is like a microwave, I can put water in here, heat it up, and have my coffee. You can also make like soup or ramen or anything in there. It's just really handy to have, and it takes up such little space. I guess we're kind of in the food section, so a spork, a camping spork. You use it as a spoon, you use it as a fork, you can even use the side as a knife. It's just nice to have. This one is a bit more niche, but it's a water filter. So I got this one on Amazon. I got a lot of this on Amazon or at REI, so I'll try and link things. But this is great. You fill this up with water, gross water. You put this on the end, you pour it out, and clean water comes out this end. I used it in South America because the water's not safe to drink down there, and this was just, it really eased my mind. Like literally I would drink from waterfalls or whatever, and I didn't have to worry about not having access to water or, having to pay an exorbitant amount for water because they will get you down there. They see that you're a dumb tourist, especially a dumb American tourist. They assume you have money and that you will give them all of your money for some water. And I didn't want to do that, so. This one's kind of random, but as the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy says, you need a towel. If you're only bringing one thing, bring a towel. Specifically, like one of those quick dry microfiber towels because you don't want a nasty, gross, mold grown towel. So this one's a bit of an interesting one. I didn't have it in South America and I learned. It's a cocoon, like a liner for your sleeping bag. I don't have a sleeping bag, but it's a silk liner, so it's very small and lightweight and kind of warm. So it adds to the warmth, but it's also really good for hygiene. So if you're staying in dorm beds in hostels, you can shimmy into this and then you don't have to worry about getting bed bugs or anything. And you can keep it separate from everything else. And then if you do have an issue, you just wash it and it's the only thing that's been contaminated. So, and they're washable, even though it's silk, like you just wash it. I guess we'll do some like hygiene stuff now. Okay, so I was talking about liquid products that I didn't want to bring, so I had to find alternatives. So this is one of those. This is solid sunscreen. So it's just like a bar of sunscreen, essentially. And you put your fingers in there, you rub it around, you put it wherever you need to, and then you don't have to worry about liquid. And it lasts so long. Like, I've been using this for months, and it's maybe 10% gone. So that's great. More tins of things. These are shampoo and conditioners. The metal is nice because it it confines the liquid to an area, like the liquid from a shower. But so they're solid bars. You're not able to see that super well. They're solid bars. And you just use it like normal shampoo or conditioner. I will say though, I've dropped the shampoo one a few times and it's gotten dinged up, and so now it doesn't close very well. So I would just be careful. Be a little bit more conscientious in the shower than I was. This one is dynamic resurfacing facial pads. You don't need this exact thing, but personally, I like some sort of skincare thing that is like a pad with some sort of product on it, because then it's not really considered a liquid, but you can use it. And you also don't need running water then to do any sort of skincare. So if you have any sort of concerns with your skincare at all, then this is great because it takes no effort or really space in your backpack. You just whip one out, put it on your face, you're good to go. It's also great for camping because a lot of times you don't really have running water camping, so a whole actual skincare routine is not ideal. I mentioned these in my skincare video, but they're like little squishy bottles, and I just have all of my skincare in these in a 5 gallon or in a quart bag. And they're nice because they're light, but also once they're empty, you can basically squeeze them. This one's not empty, so I'm trying not to explode it. You can squeeze all the air out of it, and then it takes up less space. So that's great. They're also refillable, so if you're like, oh, I used up my skincare, but I want to store beer, you can do whatever. This one's random, but a little mini hairbrush. I didn't even know that was a thing. It came with my normal sized hairbrush, and I was like, oh, travel. A travel toothbrush. This one's kind of cool because it like flippity flippity. So it's like a normal sized one, and the head of the toothbrush is like nice and secure down here. It stays clean, which is nice. These things are cool. So they're little soap packets. So it's a little plastic thing with basically sheets of soap. This one got a little wet, so it's kind of smushed together. But you have like these little sheets of soap. This one in particular is laundry soap, and then this one is like general like hand soap. And so then you can do your laundry on the go without having to worry about getting soap, laundry pods, whatever. And then this one's great. You can basically use it like hand sanitizer if you have any water whatsoever and you need to wash your hands. You just take one of these, wash it, you're good to go. Some kind of random Swiss Army knife. They're just really useful. Like, I've used tweezers to get things out of my fingers. I use knives to open things. Like, there's a cork thingamabobber on here. Like, what if you have some emergency wine you need to get into? It's nice to have. This, however, is the one thing I packed that is not carry-on safe. So I did end up checking my bag to Ireland. I was planning on being able to take it on the actual plane if I was flying back and forth between the UK and Ireland at all. And I haven't done that yet, and I'm not really sure what I'm going to do with this if I do. I just thought it would be so useful that I didn't want to leave it behind, and I was like, can I just like leave it under a rock outside of the airport and then come back and get it? I don't really know. Don't know what my plan is here, but just in terms of like checking bags or whatever, you can't take this on the plane. It has to be checked. Another random one, if you're going to stay in any hostel whatsoever, you want to bring a lock. I'd recommend the ones with combinations, because if you have one of the ones with the key, you could lose the key and then your lock is kaput. If you're lucky, the hostel will have wire cutters or bolt cutters and can get you into your locker. If you're unlucky, like, I don't even know. I had a roommate in one of my hostels that happened to, and they had to bolt cutter it so he could leave and get his stuff. But yeah, so if you've never stayed in a hostel before, if you've never stayed in a dorm room, they often have lockers that don't have locks on them, and so you'll want your own lock. You can often buy locks in the hostels, but they're going to be expensive, and you may not be able to buy them in all of the hostels, so it's just good to bring your own. A teeny tiny sewing kit. I didn't think I needed one, and then I ended up in Argentina with like 6 different things broken, and I bought one. So this is what it looks like. Literally just Google search sewing kit anywhere. Amazon probably has like a $2 one. Where does this even go? Right there. It's got little tiny tweezers and little tiny scissors and needles and whatever. Sometimes you just need it. I use the needles for a splinter, so like sometimes you just need a sewing kit. Even if you don't sew, you'll learn. This guy is a clock. It is not set to the correct time. I brought it because I was worried about having to make early morning meetings, and like if my phone was not being charged or was low in charge or something, I wanted a secondary method to wake me up. Clearly, I haven't used it yet. But if you're also worried about that, this one is nice because it was cheap and it's small and it's meant for travel. And it's got an alarm and it's easy to set up. So. An external battery pack. This will solve the concern of this one in that it will keep your phone charged. This one's also very fun because it has a solar panel. So you can get a little bit of charge from the sun. It's not a lot. Don't rely on it. I just thought it was nice to have a little extra, and I've used it upon occasion where the solar part was really handy. But for the most part, you just plug it in whenever you have charging capability, charge it up, you're good to go. Speaking of charging, an adapter. This one is great because it has tons of options. EU, UK, Australia, and US. Those are all the connectors that it can plug into. And that is also all the connectors that you can plug into it. And it has 4 USB things. I have so many other travelers see this and they're like, oh my god, that is the best thing ever. Because literally, you don't have to keep finding new adapters for different places you go to. You have one and it works. And if you have international friends and they also need to plug things in, like they're set. So it's great. This one may not apply to everybody, but I honestly think it does. So this is Ace Bandage. It's, like that sticky bandage, you peel it off, you wrap it around whatever, and it sticks to itself. I keep fracturing my feet. It's just a thing I do. So I always bring this with me to wrap them because it works better than like the boots or whatever. But this is great if you have any sort of physical ailment where a little bit of extra support would help, then it's great. I personally think a fanny pack, hip pack, whatever you want to call this, is really helpful. It's really useful. If you happen to wear pants that don't have pockets, this is a pocket. Or if you're like going out and you don't want to have to carry a bag or a purse or whatever, this is your bag or purse attached to you. Speaking of bags, you're going to want to bring some sort of like reusable bag. This has handles. A canvas bag, grocery bag, whatever you want to call it. Because if you go grocery shopping, a lot of places don't give you bags, so you have to bring your own or pay for it. As you're traveling, you may accumulate more stuff, and then you're going to need an extra bag to put it all in. It's very handy to have, and it takes up such little space. It's definitely worth it. This one is a bit of an odd one, but a fake wallet. Especially if you're traveling somewhere where you're concerned about safety, having a wallet that you fill with like expired IDs or canceled credit cards, or like this is one of those fake ones. It's like paper, one of those promotional cards that they send you in the mail. You just put it in there. Maybe you put like $5 or $10 in the local currency, and then I actually do have €5 in here. See, that's the one thing. Don't forget you have money. And then you put it in your back pocket or whatever. If somebody is trying to pickpocket you, this is what they'll get. If they're holding you up at gunpoint, God forbid, you can give this to them and it will fool them long enough for you to leave and then, like, not now, right? Some people will say, like, all you need is, like, an empty wallet because that will deter the pickpockets, right? That's what they'll get, and your real wallet's, like, in your breast pocket or whatever. But my concern, at least with South America, was that it would be more of a violent crime where they would, be like, give me your money. And if you give them an empty wallet and they open it and they see it's empty, like, you might get shot. But they're not going to know that the cards don't have money on them. They're not going to really look at the expiration dates on the IDs, right? Like, it's going to be fine. So that's why I put a little bit more effort into my fake wallet. Plus, $5 or $10 makes it look real. But you're not, you're not losing all your money. This is the one clothing item I'm including. I could include all my clothing, but I have like a packing video where you can see everything I packed. This is just more of like the highlights. But unless you're going somewhere tropical and you're going to be in the tropical area the whole time, highly recommend a puffy jacket. Like, get one of those good quality ones that's light, that compresses a lot, but that's really warm, because it won't add much weight to your backpack compared to like a different type of jacket would. Whereas this one is just, it's such a good travel option. It's less space, less weight, just as warm. And then my last one for like absolute must pack things I will never travel without is kind of two things. So it's a journal, and in this case, my Polaroid camera. Basically, just any way to document what you're doing. I guess there could be the argument that like YouTube is the documentation, but I'm more of an analog girl. Like, I like to write things down. I like to take the pictures and have them print out and like be able to put it in the journal. It's just nice to really be able to reflect on your journey in a more personal way, and personally, like, my brain just appreciates the more analog than digital version. Like, writing something out to me is very different than like talking to a camera. You could do definitely just a journal. You could even do just a camera. I mean, heck, you could just do your phone camera and then print out pictures and make a collage when you get home. Like, whatever you want to do, some sort of way to keep track of the memories and to record your journey, I think is very important, and it's probably part of why you're taking whatever journey you're taking. Right? All right, now we have what I call the like honorable mentions, things that I personally think are important. I feel like a smaller population of people would agree with me. So the first one is tape. It's just useful. I brought it specifically to like tape tickets and things into my journal, but I often use it to like tape food closed or tape something somewhere, or I don't know, I keep using the tape. It's just really handy to have. I feel like I've said it's just really handy to have like 17 times. Cliff bars. If you've seen my packing video, or I believe I have a short on this, I brought way too many, but they're very handy. They're high calorie, they're dense, they're good for breakfast, they're good for snacks. It's good to have something like this, some sort of snacking thing. If you're like me and you get hangry, because then whoever's traveling with you is going to hate you. And also, if you're traveling alone and you're hangry, like, that's just unpleasant. So bring some kind of food. This guy, it's a Tony Moly thing, so of course it's cute. A perfume stick. I don't know if you can see this. I have no idea. I'm so blind. I have no real comparison for what actual people can see. But this is the same principle as like the shampoo and conditioner and sunscreen. It's solid perfume. That's only if you actually care about wearing perfume. In South America, I did not, because that would attract bugs, and you know, we were already worried about things like dengue and malaria. In Ireland, I wouldn't be as worried about that, and so, you know, if I wanted to smell nice upon occasion, which is kind of rare for a backpacker, then this is a good option. And last is my bag of, well, the one on top is oil blotter sheets, which is useful, but just face masks. These are great because they're single use, which is bad for the planet. I understand. I'm actually moving away from this. I've just accumulated face masks over the years, and I was like, oh, I'll use them while in Ireland. Like, that'll be great. They're single use, so when you use it up, it makes space in your backpack. And it's also just, like, you don't need water for this, right? You don't wash it off and on, you just put it on. Well, there you go. That was a bit of a disorganized video, but I hope, you know, it was helpful. Even just a little bit. I hope you found one or two things where you thought about it and you're like, you know, that would make my life easier. Maybe you're already traveling and you're like, ah, damn, I wish I brought that with me. If there's anything that you think is a really, really important thing to bring while traveling, let me know in the comments below. If there's something that makes your life easier, like, I would love to know. I like an easy life. Like, I'll check it out. And I guess that's it. I'll see you next time. I'm in an island, and you've been watching what I think is important to bring backpacking.